Suspicion continued to surround Gary Windass during tonight's episode of Coronation Street, as the police investigation into Theo Silverton's shocking murder moved forward with increasing intensity. Once DS Lisa Connor-Swain informed Todd Grimshaw that Theo had been killed, she quickly decided that George Shuttleworth should become the primary focus of her investigation. Lisa grew increasingly doubtful about George's version of events after discovering that a shirt belonging to him contained traces of Theo's blood. Adding to her concerns, George initially failed to mention the late-night walk he had taken on the evening Theo died, making Lisa suspect he could be concealing further information connected to the crime. Despite her suspicions, George was eventually released because the police did not have enough concrete evidence to support the claim that he was responsible for Theo's murder. Following this development, Lisa and Kit Green shifted their attention towards Gary and brought him in for formal questioning. During the interview, the detectives questioned Gary extensively about his whereabouts on the night Theo lost his life, particularly because the two men had once shared a friendship. They also highlighted Gary's previous anger towards Theo after discovering the abuse he had inflicted upon Todd. Gary explained to the investigators that the CCTV recordings from the builder's yard automatically erased themselves after 1 week, preventing Lisa and Kit from reviewing footage that might have contained extremely significant evidence. However, the truth was very different, as Gary himself had secretly deleted the footage after the surveillance camera captured him violently damaging Theo's van. Gary was later allowed to leave the police station after Maria Connor provided him with an alibi. Although Gary believed he had successfully escaped suspicion, the soap hinted that trouble may soon return when a photograph emerged showing him walking alone across the cobbles on the very night Theo was killed. In tonight's dramatic episode, Todd found himself battling intense and conflicting emotions in the aftermath of Theo's death. During conversations with Sarah Platt, he admitted that at certain moments he experiences real sorrow over Theo's fate, while at other times he feels a sense of relief instead. Todd confessed that he no longer understands his own emotions, and the situation has become even more difficult because Lisa and Kit continue monitoring his behavior very closely. Determined to uncover the truth for himself, Todd later visited Gary and directly asked whether he had murdered Theo. Gary firmly denied the accusation, but Todd still had good reason to remain suspicious because the pair had previously agreed to frighten Theo and force him away. Gary insisted that the only thing he had actually done was destroy Theo's van. Yet Todd continued doubting whether he was telling the complete truth. Gary pointed out that secrets are incredibly easy to hide on this street, before suggesting that Todd himself could potentially be concealing a deadly secret of his own. As the tense confrontation between the two men escalated, neither of them noticed Kit standing nearby in the background, quietly observing their exchange with obvious interest and curiosity. Could this latest development bring Kit one step closer to uncovering the real truth behind Theo's murder? Or could the detective be focusing his suspicions entirely in the wrong direction? Sam Blakeman faces an increasingly frightening emotional battle in upcoming episodes of Coronation Street, as the troubled teenager becomes unable to separate reality from the terrifying thoughts forming inside his mind. Sam's emotional well-being first began to deteriorate after he became trapped in the manipulative games of Megan Walsh. He was the very first person to uncover Megan's secret relationship with Will Driscoll, but instead of being able to speak freely, he was intimidated into staying silent about what he knew. As Megan continued applying pressure and emotional intimidation, Sam also made the dangerous decision to start taking ADHD medication that had never actually been prescribed to him. He convinced himself the tablets would improve his concentration and help him perform better at school, but instead, they caused his mental and emotional condition to worsen dramatically. The overwhelming stress eventually became too much for Sam to handle, leading to him collapsing in the middle of the street before being rushed urgently to hospital. Following the incident, Leanne Battersby finally uncovered the truth about everything Sam had been suffering through, including the pressure Megan and Will had been placing upon him. Although the Driscoll family are now fully aware of Megan's behavior, Sam's problems have not become any easier to manage. He is struggling more than ever to figure out which people around him can genuinely be trusted, while also continuing to face hostility from an angry Will who blames him for revealing the truth about his relationship with Megan. With his paranoia reaching dangerously intense levels, Sam has now begun suffering from disturbing auditory and visual hallucinations. Earlier this week, he ran frantically through Weatherfield after becoming convinced that Will was chasing after him. After falling to the ground and nervously looking behind himself, Sam was horrified to discover that nobody had actually been there at all. His emotional nightmare continues in upcoming scenes. During a tense moment at school, Sam is deeply shaken when Will glares at him menacingly while walking out of a classroom. Later on, Sam heads towards the Red Wreck, where Will confronts him again and issues another threatening warning. Already overwhelmed with fear and anxiety, Sam accidentally drops his telescope, smashing it into pieces. Completely terrified, he immediately runs away in panic as though fleeing for his safety. As the week reaches its conclusion, Nick Tilsley and Toya Battersby privately discuss their growing fears for Sam's well-being and begin questioning whether professional counseling could help ease his severe anxiety. Unfortunately, Sam overhears only part of the discussion and completely misunderstands what is being said. Devastated by what he thinks he heard, Sam begins convincing himself that his own family no longer believes anything he says and that he has been left entirely alone to deal with his problems. Sam's heartbreaking ordeal is expected to intensify over the coming weeks, with producer Kate Brooks confirming that the ITV soap will continue exploring the devastating psychological impact Megan's manipulation has had on the young character, especially after so many people dismissed his warnings and refused to believe his accusations against her. Speaking about the storyline, Kate explained that involving Sam in Megan's story and making him another victim of her manipulation created what she described as a compelling and emotionally powerful direction for the narrative. She went on to reveal that Sam's mental health has suffered enormously because of everything he has experienced, including the manipulation itself, the lack of support from those around him, and the constant fear he felt whenever he was near Megan. Kate further confirmed that the program is preparing to tell a major mental health storyline centered around Sam, with the teenager expected to struggle severely throughout the spring and early summer months. She explained that the story will focus on whether Sam's family recognize the seriousness of his condition before his situation becomes even more dangerous, especially given how emotionally vulnerable he has become. She also stressed that Megan's behavior has not only directly damaged Will and the Driscoll family, but has also caused enormous emotional harm to Sam, making him another tragic casualty of her lies and manipulation. According to Kate, the situation demonstrates how completely trust can be destroyed when people become trapped in the chaos created by someone who continually deceives everyone around them.